cocktails, live entertainment, and DJs. Cocktails. Great people and more great people. That's Cocktails. 2026 Northeast 8th Street in the Campbell East Shopping Center, Homestead.
Major League Baseball is in your face on ESPN with America's Game of the Week, Sunday Night Baseball, plus single games on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights, and a Friday night doubleheader. Sunday night, Jack Morris could be the leader on the mound the Blue Jays have been looking for. He takes the hill against Wally Joyner and the Royals on America's Game of the Week, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Back in New York, and already we've seen a whole lot of shaking going on, that's for sure. The Colts have their two men, the Rams have Sean Gilbert, and the Super Bowl champions have drafted the Heisman Trophy winner, Desmond Howard. We are not alone here in New York, that's for sure. In another part of the room, we've got every corner of this room covered. We've got Chris Fowler and the gang, and they're with a guy who's pretty happy right now. Chris?
All right, Chris, across the ballroom, Mike Gottfried, of course, our college football primetime analyst, and a guy he recruited to Pittsburgh, Sean Gilbert, the newest Ram. Congratulations. Your general feeling, because last night your agent thought the deal might be done with the Colts. You found out this morning it's the Rams.
Well, there was always a speculation of it. I never really placed myself with any specific team. I know that everything's out in the open, and you have to wait until the decision's made, which was today.
Mike, you know what a dominant player he was at Pittsburgh. You recruited him there. Talk about his strengths as a player and maybe project Sean into the NFL.
Well, the great thing is when you recruit a player like Sean, it's a great feeling for me. I'm proud of him. And Sean Gilbert is an outstanding player. Chuck Knox got Cortez Kennedy at Seattle a couple years ago. He gets the same type of player here. You see Sean Gilbert on the inside against Minnesota. He's got a great pass rush from the inside. He's a bull rusher, but he also plays the run well. But where I think they get the bonus, if you want to play Sean Gilbert outside, you see him on the interception here, he's a good athlete. He can go outside, he can play inside. You got 2 for 1, and he can, in a 4-3 front, I think his best spot is the defensive end spot.
Well, the Rams certainly need pass rush help. Only 17 sacks last year, dead last in the NFL. Do you have a preference where you'd like to play, as rushing the pass, or what you'd like to bring to that team?
Making the Rams the best team defensively as possible.
Any doubts in your mind at all you're ready for this level of competition? Only a year and a half of college football?
No doubt. To be a man, you have to beat the man.
I think I can get him to go buy me a Coke after this now.
All right, thanks very much. Congratulations again to the newest Ram. Let's go back across the ballroom to Chris.
All right, guys, thank you. And the Rams defensive, we told you once upon a time when Chuck Knox was there in the early 70s, Deacon Jones, Merlin Olsen. Well, it's a little bit different. Kevin Green can play, but they really had big-time defensive problems last year. And, Tommy, you just think about Sean Gilbert in there. You know, any football team, Rams really need him. He'll be a big spark plug, should start immediately.
Well, Chris, this is a defensive line that accounted for only 7 sacks, the defensive line last year. Sean Gilbert is not only a great pass rusher, but as you saw on the tape, this kid is a great athlete at 330 pounds.
All right, the Green Bay Packers are up next, Tommy, and along with the Cincinnati Bengals, and you would think it's the 2 defensive backs coming, Troy Vincent, Terrell Buckley. Probably Buckley to the Packers. That's our guess. Still our guess as the pack.
The Green Bay Packers have selected Terrell Buckley, defensive back, Florida State. Cincinnati is now on the board.
Terrell Buckley now becomes, in the first 5 picks, the 4th of 5 underclassmen to go in this draft. Now, the Packers had an interesting situation, Mel, because there was some difference of opinion, but not an argument here. I mean, Mike Holmgren, an excellent offensive guru from the 49ers, obviously he's interested in Desmond Howard. The Skins were scared of that. They also are very interested, though, in Terrell Buckley, because Buckley comes in right away and helps them, and they liked him because of his maybe return. They liked him over Vincent, although that's really a tough call.
It is a tough call. You look at Terrell Buckley, he brings that added dimension to you. You're a guy that gambles a lot, but when he picks that pass off, he goes the distance, outstanding punt returner in the Darryl Green mold, and a guy that will fit in well with the Green Bay Packers. Here's a team that went out on plan B and signed Lewis Phillips. Last year, they drafted Vinnie Clark in the 1st round. The year before that, they drafted Leroy Butler from Florida State in round 2. Here's Buckley, intercepting a pass, and you see his ability in the open field, these moves. He's almost like a a running back here in the open field, Dion Jr., as we said last night. And that's the dimension. Here is a punt returner. He's not only a defensive player, but an offensive weapon who can put 6 points on the board for you. And when you bring that kind of ability to a team, he's tough to pass up at this point. Obviously, Troy Vincent right up there. You see him intercepting a pass here in the first quarter. First series for Michigan against Elvis Grbac. That turned the tables on Michigan and allowed Florida State to pull away on their way to a one-sided victory in a key game early in the year. So you can see that impact capability. If this guy gets a little more consistent, settles down, doesn't gamble quite as much, he has definite future Pro Bowl ability, and that's why you take a guy this high. You have to have aspirations and feelings that this guy will be a dominant corner in that Darrell Green mold, and obviously Ron Wolf, the Packers, feel that way.
I tell you what, the Packers still may have wanted Buckley, whether they made the deal ahead of them to get Desmond Howard or not. One of the best-kept secrets, guys, last year was that the Packers had a pretty good defense. They ranked 10th overall in the National Football League. That's pretty good for a team that's 4-12. Now, Buckley fits right in, and he can make big plays for him.
Well, there's no question about it, Chris. I mean, you know his return.
The track, on the links, on the gridiron, on the diamond.
No matter who's playing.
If it's happening in sports, it's happening on Shapiro Sports Sunday. Every Sunday at 11:30, right here on Channel 6.
Situation that other teams have gotten into with their first-round picks. They must sign Terrell Buckley. They must get him into...
The first curveball of the morning has been hit by the Bengals. So there's where David Klingler goes. My goodness. There's Lee Steinberg, an agent of David Klingler in Newport Beach, California, and I think they are shocked. Certainly Boomer Esiason is there, and they're not looking for a quarterback right away. The Bengals are a team that, Tommy, does not exactly trot out the big bucks, yet they've taken the quarterback. Unbelievable wheeling and dealing from the team you would least expect it from.
Well, as I talked with Coach Shula a few times, you know, the indication was that they were looking defense. They knew that a lot of defensive talent would be available. This is a curveball, as you said, Chris, but I think if you look at the past couple of years, Boomer Esiason, there's been speculation that something was wrong with his arm. He's had a couple off years. This is a guy who's going to take a little bit of time to develop as a pure drop-back quarterback, but I think it's a good move for him in the long run.
Before we get back to Klingler here, let me just say that son David Shula may have done Father Don a huge, huge favor. Miami wants defense, 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 and with the 7th pick, the next one, they didn't think they'd get the 5 really super players, any of them. Now they have a chance at quarterback Troy Vincent, which is perfect, and also Klingler stays out of the division in case New England wanted. So I think the son has done his dad very proud.
You know, Chris, I'm going out to left field. We're all talking about Klingler in Cincinnati. We saw Lee sitting there. We saw David with their eyes go, oh my gosh, Cincinnati. I don't think he's going to stay in Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati took him to give them leverage with Kansas City, with Pittsburgh, and with a few other teams in this draft. So don't be surprised. And this is just the way I feel and believe. Don't be surprised that Klingler hasn't finished starting to move through the first round yet. I think it's a great opportunity to have somebody wants. The great thing that Cincinnati has done, they now have the gem. They have a gem that they can deal somewhere through this draft and say, okay, you want them? Let's start giving me some stuff over here. I wouldn't put the postage stamp on David Klingler being in Cincinnati or start mailing anything just quite yet.
We told you that there would be some intriguing moves here at the draft, and guess what? We have some. Let's go down to Craig James and find out what's going on. Craig, can you fill us in? What's the latest here?
As surprised as you all. Joe, that's a pretty bold statement that you made right there. Maybe using him as trade bait. It could happen. David, I don't think that you were expecting to go to Cincinnati, were you?
Gosh, it's hard to say. I'm just happy to be there. That's my home state. I couldn't pick a better place.
Now you sound like a politician at your home state.
I was born in Ohio, and just glad to be back.
Lee, how about you? You shocked?
Mind-boggled. I was Mike Brown. Well, it'll be interesting. You know, we didn't really have a heavy inclination, although Dana Bible called yesterday morning and he said it might be, he said, don't count us out, because everyone was talking